Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel and happy holidays, or just holidays, because the holidays, as we know, are not happy for everyone. And I just want to acknowledge that, because as always I am trying to create a safe space here for everyone in spite of all of our feelings. But today, because I celebrate the holidays, I celebrate Christmas, and I have, I have a couple festivities coming up this weekend. I wanted to come on camera and do the I'm cold, or the cold girl makeup look, which has kind of been my stand-in everyday makeup look for the past little while. It's funny how things become trends when it's just like, this is what I do every day. Nevertheless, it's a very, very cute and very easy, very youthful, flushed makeup look that for, the northern climates suits us very, very well, because we are constantly being flushed and blushed from the chilly air. And it also just happens to be a very easy and laid back holiday look. So that's what we're gonna do today. And we're also gonna talk, as usual, about a couple of things. The theme of today's little chat, as we put on some cute I'm cold for the holidays makeup, is the topic of passing up on opportunities and why sometimes that is a good thing. Now, this is not by any means a piece of advice if you are someone who is looking to gain access to fame and fortune. If that is your trajectory in life, just hop on off of this video, because I'm going to tell you that it's okay to pass up an opportunity. And if you are trying to make it big in this world, that's not really the way to do it. But if you are trying to be in a place of contentedness and reduce your anxiety and just overall experience life at a calmer pace, then I'm here to tell you and talk to you today about the fact that passing up on an opportunity is okay every now and then, even if it's a really good one. So before I jump in, I am going to just prep my lips here because they're a little dry with my beloved Glossier Cookie Butter Balm.com, which I truly thought that it was lost to me forever. And I found it today, and I have been slathering it all over my lips ever since I dug it out. I was doing a little bit of a closet purge and just happened to feel something lumpy in the pocket of one of my sweaters, and I was like, that's unusual. What's in here? What's in this pocket? This was in the pocket. What a sneaky little minx. But I couldn't be happier to have found it, because I missed it very much. And like I said, I truly thought that it was lost to me forever. I'm also going to do just a little bit of skin prep. I did not put on any makeup today, so while my face is clear and clean of everything, it's been many, many, many hours since I washed it, and many, many hours as a result since I put any sort of skincare on. So I'm just gonna do kind of a quick layer of a primer just because I happen to have it. It's the e.l.f. Hydrating Face Primer on the go. And I just have a little mini from one of their holiday kits. So I've actually never used this. Call it a first impression, a first encounter. We know that I don't use a lot of primer, but my skin just definitely needs a little tiny boost of moisture, and wow, that is silicone-y. Also quite blurring. Interesting. Now I'm sure you can see this. I've got a little blemish here because that is exactly the point, the physical manifestation of my willpower maxing out for 2022. This is where it all stopped. This is where the battery ran out on this little tiny blemish that I couldn't stop picking. So what we're gonna do with this is the concealers that I have are not really gonna cover that up. So we're basically just gonna turn it into a beauty mark. Now, we know that I don't love doing my brows anymore, so I'm just going in with the Refi Brow Pomade, or whatever it's called, because she's still going strong. It's still topping my list. I have been trying out an Essence one as well that's like called Extra Strong, and it's not even strong. It's like not even strong, all capitals. So I don't really know where they get off using such intense verbiage, but let me tell you, the only thing that is extra strong is this Refi, and now it's in my hair. Glorious. So I have some kind of new products here today that we're gonna use. It's not really a review or a first impression. It's just stuff that I have been playing with lately that I've been really enjoying. And otherwise, everything is like pretty standard at this point. If you've been hanging out with me for a while, absolutely none of this will come as a surprise. So just a fair warning. We're not doing anything new. This is very much like a shop my stash kind of situation, with the exception of the few products that I will go a little bit more in depth about. And for my concealer, I am still using the NYX Bear With Me concealer. I've got the shade medium and golden on the go. As you can see, I've used quite a bit more of medium than golden. I mean, not quite a bit, just I've been using this one more just because in the summertime this was a little bit more my skin tone, but I'm just like desperately in a project pan mood with these two. I really want to finish them because I finally picked up the Kosas concealer again, which I haven't used in so long, and I just want to finish these because I desperately want to get back into the Kosas. So excited for that. We are gonna cover up that spot, but I just know that it's not gonna get it's not gonna be completely masked. It's raised and it's quite red because it bled a little bit, so we just have to manage our expectations. I have been having a bit of a skin challenge, and I think it's just, you know, we're coming up to that time of the month, so that's all sort of to be expected as my hormones do their thing. And then I'm just gonna go in with my little, this is called, I don't even know, Pro Slanted Buffing Brush from Sephora. One of my favorites. But I actually made the sacrifice of space to start taking this with me on weekends for sleepovers and things because it's just so good. And in case anyone is wondering, you're not. I am still not using foundation. I do get tempted sometimes, you know? Like, I can't deny that I was not a little bit tempted by that House Labs foundation, but I know myself, and I know that it's not gonna get used. I'm gonna have that like moment of, ooh, pretty, ooh, let's play with it, ooh, the texture is fun. And then in practice, I'm gonna be so annoyed that it's sitting there taunting me, and I'm gonna start to feel guilty that I'm not using it, but I know that I won't wanna use it, so it's just like this vicious cycle of so many unnecessary things. Now, the whole point of this I'm cold look is to be quite simple. Just, you know, the skin tone is just evened out. It's very heavy on the blush, very light on the eyes. Though because we're going holiday, we're gonna go just a little bit elevated on the eyes, or like a little bit more elevated than is intended. And like, even for me, that's pretty much nothing. It's not going to be over the top by any means. And I'm gonna do just a little bit, teeny tiny bit of bronzer, like something very, very natural, just to give a little bit more definition to my face. But the focus of the I'm cold look is really the cheeks, the very flushed pink cheek that is making the suggestion of you being cold, me being cold. So that is really the focus. And then obviously I'm gonna do some lash. And again, because it's holiday, I'm probably gonna go in with like a little bit of sparkle somewhere. So to get just a little bit of that definition in my face, we are going to use one of my new products, and that is the new Kaleidos Symphony Contour Trio. And I really like this packaging. It's like very heavy, which is just sometimes such a delight. And I'm using the shade Tan. So you've got your kind of like highlight shade here, your contour, and then your bronze. Now, I have never really used like contour. I pretty much only go bronzer or brontour. So it's been interesting, needless to say. And like, I don't really know how to feel about this. Like, for example, I'll just dab my little like brush in there, and like I could dab it right on the tip of my nose as a point of highlight, but because I'm using the shade Tan, it just kind of like colors my nose versus giving me a highlight. So I don't know, but I am gonna go in first with the bronzing shade, and it is super natural. It's a very, very finely milled, delicate powder, and the shade Tan on me is like, honestly, it's quite a bit, I would say, lighter than the tone and shade of bronzer that I typically use, which is absolutely fine, especially for this look where I don't need to be, you know, super chiseled or super bronzed. The point here is not sun-kissed, it's like wind-kissed. So we want more of the pink tones in the skin versus this like bronze tone anyways. But I am just gonna go in the way that I usually do because it's just part of the process. And then I am gonna dip my brush into that contour shade, which really makes me nervous. And I'm just gonna I'm using such a light hand. I'm gonna go under the cheekbone just for a little bit. And like, I have less light on this side, so you can see the difference. But we'll see kind of the impact on this side where the bulk of my light is as I film. And I would say that that still has like an impact. But I'm scared to use contour. It's intimidating. I don't think I'm gonna do anything around the nose, honestly, because I'm just gonna go over with blush. But what I am gonna do on the eyes is just take one of my little fluffy brushes here and go back into the bronzer shade. And then just wash that all over the lid. Now, let's get into this topic of passing up opportunities. And let me just start by saying that me passing up this opportunity I felt was relatively controversial. I had a very good reason to pass it up, but I'm sure that there are people that when I told them that was the decision I made, vehemently believed that I had made the incorrect decision. Now let's rewind to what this all is about. So last week, I was supposed to be, had I made a different decision, I would have been in Buenos Aires, a city I have never been to, a city I was being given the opportunity to go to as part of a work trip, but also as, you know, an overall thank you for all of the hard work that you've done this year, and like, you know, you're an integral part of this project and we want you there with us. Now, the project is a major multimedia art project called Anthropocene. It's a giant museum show. There's a film, there's an education program, and the exhibition itself has been touring around the world since 2018. And earlier this year, secured a venue in Buenos Aires. And so this exhibition was going to be making its South American premiere at this venue. And I was invited to go and be there with the artists for, you know, the week of installation leading up to the public opening. And listen, when the offer first came my way, I was absolutely blown away. Offers and opportunities like that truly don't come around every day. They are truly once in a lifetime. So my gut reaction was to be absolutely in awe of receiving this invitation, of being given this opportunity, of being deemed, you know, worthy enough to go along on this trip as part of the artist team. And I was, you know, very, very excited. And obviously my initial reaction was like, oh, I would love to go. Are you kidding? That sounds amazing. I would love to be there. And there was all of this excitement in the lead up to it. Sorry, I am now just going in to the outer edge of the lower lash line with the contour shade, just for a little bit more definition under there. I am gonna do the same thing on the upper lash line, but I'm gonna go in with a different shade at some point for a little wing action. Yeah, I was thrilled. But then, and it was, you know, always the understanding that it was gonna kind of be in the second week of December. And, you know, I was gonna have my hotel and my flight covered, and like we kept doing check-ins to make sure that like everything felt good. But as we started to get closer and closer to the date, I started to feel more and more overwhelmed about the idea of going. And, you know, as an aside, I've not done a lot of travel in my life. I'm a terrible packer. I've got a lot of anticipatory anxiety around traveling. And it's not even so much like being on a plane. I don't have a fear of flying. I just like, I don't love the whole airport thing. I get very overwhelmed about the idea of like having to go through security and customs, and like, what if my bag's too heavy, and like not knowing what to pack. And like, even when I go away on a weekend, like I'm packing 45 pairs of underwear and my bag doesn't zip up because I'm overpacking outfits because I can't make decisions, and it stresses me out so much about not having options. So the idea of having to go somewhere so far away, and, you know, obviously the the climate there right now is completely different. It's their summer. So I wouldn't have had as much bulky clothing, you know, if I like as I might have if I were going, you know, out west or something, or I don't know, Iceland, like completely different climate, completely different like set of outfits. But nevertheless, I was very stressed out about the whole packing and traveling thing. And like, once I'm in a city, I'm very good on the ground. I would like to think that I'm quite street smart. You know, I'm not dumb. I can really like make my way around a city. I don't need a chaperone. I don't need a guide. I love to explore, but it's just getting me from like point A to point B. And I was just really having a hard time kind of reconciling that and like getting myself in a place where I was starting to feel excited because I was just feeling so stressed. And then again, as I started to get closer and closer to, you know, the dates, there was also just there is a lot of stuff going on at home. And I was like, I don't know if I can go away, if I can afford to go away, because there's so much happening in my personal life that like, if I leave, that's all I'm going to be able to think about. I'm not going to be able to enjoy my time there. I'm going to be stressing out about what's happening at home. And like, maybe that's silly because ultimately I have no control over what's currently going on in my life. And it has nothing to do with me personally. It's just like my family. There's just, you know, personal stuff going on. But obviously I care, and I am a worrier. So like, that's not just gonna change or switch off because I have this opportunity in front of me to go away. I made the judgment call that you know what, I can't go. There's just far too much going on right now, and everyone was extremely disappointed. Again, this was supposed to kind of be like a thank you trip as much as it was a work trip. So there was some disappointment for me, and like, you know, sadness for me, not that like I wasn't going to be there and that I wouldn't get to have that experience, and, you know, I would be missed, and yada, 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 the list goes on. However, and let me just back up too. There was also people in my life outside of my, you know, bosses and colleagues who I definitely think, I think that they thought that I made the wrong decision to not go. And I can appreciate that perspective, absolutely. Because for many people, maybe most people, I don't know, I can only speak for myself, passing up on an opportunity like that, which is basically like a free trip to an incredible city, like during the World Cup, FIFA World Cup, obviously. I don't know if you're a sports fan, obviously you know that, but whatever. It seems like a no-brainer to just immediately say yes and go and have the best time ever. And I totally get that. And like some people are just born travelers. Some people would like, it wouldn't even be a question for them. There would be no hemming and hawing. There would be no anxiety. It would just be an immediate yes, go, and never regret it, never look back. I'm just not built that way. I never have been. And when I tell you that I have never been more relieved in my life, I have never felt lighter in my life than I did the moment after I made that decision and like sent the email that I would not be going on this trip. And this is why I think that sometimes in looking at the big picture and in actually weighing all of the things that are going on in one's life, it is truly sometimes okay to pass up on an opportunity like that. Because that same opportunity is not going to come around, but another opportunity, possibly a better opportunity, will. And I'm so certain of that because I'm still very early in my career. I'm only 32. There is so much life ahead of me, and my life and my future is going to be what I make it. So one decision in this moment that caused me an immense amount of relief and an immense amount of lightness, why would I ever regret that? Not to mention that it turned out that it was a complete shit show at the venue because there was a million things wrong with the exhibition. So no regrets, my friends. Absolutely none. Now I am taking this teeny tiny Jane Iredale trio. It is the trio palette in Cognac. And I'm just taking this shade right here, which is truly not that much darker than the contour. It's just like kind of a slightly different tone. And I'm just sort of sketching out kind of like the shadow of a wing. It's not a deep enough shade against my skin tone to like actually give me a full line, but I also don't want a full actual like visible wing. I just kind of want this shadow, this suggestion of that shape, of that, just that definition on the corner. And obviously my right eye will always be better than my left. It will always just for some reason turn out so much better. And yeah, because I think once I also knew that, you know, things were going south, pun intended, with the exhibition, and it was just like very challenging for the folks on the ground there, I was even more relieved. I was like, well, with everything that I have going on that's already like giving me hamster brain, adding that on top of it, which like meant much of it would have been out of my control once again. So it's like I would have been stressed for so many unnecessary reasons. I'm so glad that I wasn't there. Now, then of course, Argentina won the World Cup. And so Buenos Aires was alight with excitement and joy. And there was parades and there was all of this stuff. And like, sure, I could have participated in that and gotten to experience that, but I'm not that much of a sports fan anyways. It just... So, you know, sometimes you have to really know you and make those decisions for you and not make those decisions for anyone else. I'm glad that I didn't listen to the little troll in my mind who was trying to convince me to listen to what I thought other people were thinking about the decision and that I just trusted my gut and my heart in that moment to be like, no, this is the right decision for me. And lo and behold, I have not a single regret. Could I have gotten a bit of a beautiful tan in what is essentially my motherland? Sure. But you know what? I'm having all kinds of really excellent experiences here. And for the first time ever, like, I think I'm a snowboarder, guys. Folks, y'all, sorry to misgender you. I have now been out to the ski hills 3 times in the last month, and I'm really getting the hang of it and I'm really loving it. And do you know how awesome that is? Do you know how exciting that is? I have traditionally been someone who literally just hibernates away in the winter because I have nothing to do and nothing sparks joy for me in the outside world other than the fact that it's like visually beautiful. But I've never been like a winter sports person. There's just been nothing for me to do other than just be like, oh, I wish I was like a winter person. And now I might be. Now I'm a ski bunny, snowboard bunny, whatever. And like, I think I'm gonna get really good at it. And I'm so excited. And for me, that is so much more thrilling and fulfilling than me going to a city and like on a trip. Because I'm learning new skills and I'm doing something that sparks joy for me and increases my personal life value, not my work life value. That has a time and a place. But at the end of the day, when I go to bed, I'm with me. I'm not with my job. At the end of the night, it just comes down to me and my heart and my mind and where all of those are at that moment and how all 3 of those things, me, my heart, and my mind, are feeling. And like, are they fulfilled? Is my body in the place that it should be? Is my heart in the place that it should be? Is my mind in the place that it should be? I don't want to constantly be sitting there spinning over, economics at the end of the day and like, am I making enough money? Am I saving enough money? Am I advancing fast enough in my career? There's so much more to life. For me, as I'm, continuing my own personal journey, that means indulging in the like everyday little thing moments and not necessarily the big picture stuff. Does that make sense? Okay, you know what? I'm fine with where the eyes are. They're very subtle. Like, I barely did everything. This is kind of a no makeup, and that's totally fine. But we are now going to touch down on the blush. And I think I'm gonna go in with the Kaleidos blush in Sanguine because it is that shade that I have been talking about that is just like the true natural flush on my skin. So when I get cold or when I get embarrassed or when I get like overwhelmed, whatever, any kind of emotion that brings a flush or activity that brings a flush to my skin, it is very much in this tone. So it just feels like the natural direction to go. But I also want to, well, we're gonna see how it looks once I put it on. But I also do have the super, super pink one now that like, oh, there we go. You can see the shade, this like kind of blue toned, like baby pink. If I hold it back here, this lighting is like not doing it justice. I can't remember what this one's called. I'll put the name here when I'm editing and I can remember. But I think if all goes well, I'm just gonna like kind of pop that onto the apples of my cheek just to kind of like give some more brightness. And I also now have the Kaleidos blush brush, which I have been loving, and it truly just like obviously is a perfect match for their blush. So I'm just going to tap very lightly. This is a highly pigmented, very powdery blush, so you gotta be careful. And I'm going to start kind of going this way, like almost drawing a straight line and blending out this way rather than kind of like doing a swoop. Now we'll get more of a blend that way, but I just like, I'm thinking of where the color would come if I was super, super cold. And like now, you know, that I am snowboarding, if I've got like a neck guard on, it's gonna come up to here. This is the part of my cheek that's going to get that cold wind hitting it. And then I am gonna go just kind of like up on the high point right here. And then I'm just doing like very gentle layers. And then we're gonna go right across the nose. Now that just deposited far too much pigment, but it's okay. My nose does get very pink in the cold, and I'm kind of just like blending it down. And it's also, for me, I mean, obviously you see some girls do this look and they just have like the most perfect features. They're still very young. They still have that like absolutely like no line, seamless, like young, bouncy, like 19-year-old skin. And so everything looks perfected. I'm 32. Obviously I have blemishes. Obviously I look tired sometimes. I'm getting, you know, a little bit cavernous beneath the eyes. I have fine lines starting to settle in. And I think if I'm actually flushing in the cold, if I'm actually cold, it's not an even flush anyways. It will be a little patchy. And I think that's just part of like what makes it cute. What I do like about this look is that people are putting that blush kind of like, I have a tiny forehead, so not a ton of real estate to like really make a difference here, but they're adding the blush just kind of like at the kind of like peaks of the forehead too, sort of in maybe like a 45-degree angle up from the arch of the eyebrow. Now I have bangs, it doesn't matter that much, but you know, again, if I'm like on a chairlift and my bangs blow back, you would see it. Or just, you know, if I'm out walking and I have to be on a chairlift. Not everything has to be about snowboarding now, Alanna. Okay, we're gonna get a little bit more because the whole point of this blush, the whole point of this look is to be super blushy. If I were to peek my whole face out of my neck warmer or scarf, of course the chin would get pink too. Just turn my mirror around here so I can get a proper look. I mean, I think that's cute. Now I'm gonna try this, the pink, the like baby pink shade, and I just want to kind of like get a brightness there. This shade is not really meant for my skin tone. Let me just tell you that. It's I think a little too chalky, but mixed with the sanguine shade, or at least, you know, kind of like done over top. And I'm just like teeny tiny dabbing. I think it could just emphasize in the way that I want. I think so. I'm gonna quickly throw on my mascara. We're gonna see kind of how things look after that, see how the blush kind of like settles in, see if I need any more. And then I think I'm gonna add just a little teeny tiny bit of sparkle, because again, we're thinking not just I'm cold, but I'm cold for the holidays. Perhaps this is what I will do on Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day, maybe again on New Year's Eve if I'm doing anything. So it's just like a very simple, very cute, flirty look. And I'm always gonna want a little bit of extra glitter. So BRB, let me put on my mascara. I am still using the Essence Lash Like a Boss. I think I've talked about this. I don't remember what my last video was, but I am really loving this. It's super, super great. And it's so inexpensive. And I can't recommend this highly enough for a drugstore mascara that's very affordable. So BRB, and then we will see where we can take this and kind of finish it off. I want to do a little bit of the lip and a little bit of sparkle. Okay, mascara is on. And again, I love this mascara. It's got great volume. It makes my lashes like big and fluffy, and it's great. So now a little bit of glitter. I have this loose glitter in Light Theory from About Face, which I don't know if I've really used on camera. It's quite pretty. It's got this like kind of lavender shift. I'll just do a swatch of that for you. And I like it because it's obviously like frosty, but it's pretty sheer. So if I just kind of like tap it out into the lid, I'm not going to get like a huge wash of color, which is, I don't want that. If I wanted that, I would go in with, you know, the Flower Beauty Jungle Lights palette, because these like, they have a base pigment to them, but I kind of want more of just like a sequin effect. So I think this is an option, but also obviously I still have my Tati palette, and the top row of just straight glitter is kind of what I'm leaning towards, especially the glitter for the column Aura, which is this absolutely stunning multicolored glitter. And again, it's a sheer base. It's just like the glitter itself is what has the pigment. And it's one of my favorites. Like, I've hit pan on that one. The other option in the Tati palette is the glitter in Soothe, which is a little bit more like kind of goldy bronze, which is also quite pretty, but I don't know that that's what I want. But maybe I'll do a little bit of both. Maybe I'll do a little bit of the Aura glitter, and I'll also do a little bit of this About Face Fractal Dust Loose Glitter in Light Theory. So I'm applying with my fingers, and I'm just going to dip my finger into the pot here, and ooh, it's so pretty. Yeah. That was the right call. It's so pretty. So pretty much focusing on the outer corner and going up very like Hannah Louise Poston kind of into the eyebrow on the outer edge there. Just taking my finger and kind of like rubbing it in. Reflect on that. I don't know if it's really picking up on camera, but it's so pretty. I really do like that. But I think I also want some Aura. And I saw a really cute thing. I don't know if it was on TikTok or Instagram. So I'm just gonna kind of go over top with the Aura glitter, which really just takes this look to a completely different place because there's so much glitter now. But what I saw on, again, TikTok or Instagram was people putting glitter in here. And I just thought it was so pretty. I'm gonna try with a brush because I don't know if I'm gonna get enough accuracy with my finger. So I've just got this teeny tiny kind of fluffy Eco Tools liner smudge that I've dabbed into the Aura glitter, and I'm just putting it underneath, like in the lower corner. And I think that's really pretty. Woo! Oh my god, I love that so much. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm gonna put a little bit more up here too. Okay, so happy with that decision. Love it. Let me just flip my mirror around again and give myself kind of the... Yeah, obviously this isn't like every day. If I'm gonna roll up in my sweats, maybe I will wear this, but likely not. And like part of me wants to just roll up in sweats on all days because I'm just like so burnt out. But I have some cute outfits selected, and this is really pretty. Maybe this specific look that I've just done with the glitter on the like lower lash would be more, or sorry, lower corner would be more suitable for like New Year's Eve. But who's gonna stop me from looking this cute, you know? Okay, now the last stop here. I guess a lot of people when they're doing this look also go in with highlighter, cannot be bothered, but I am gonna put a little bit of color on my lips. Now I could go in with my About Face blush in Smash, which is basically the same tone as the Kaleidos blush in Sanguine. But I also have this Kaleidos Cloud Lab Lip Clay in Wild Apple. And first of all, the packaging is so cute. The soft matte is just delightful. And it's very much like a pink leaning red. I'm not gonna go in on a full swipe. I'm literally gonna dab there, go here, go there. That is a lot of product. This really goes a long way. And I'm just gonna wipe off my fingers and I'm gonna rub that in. That was actually too much product. And we're kind of just going for the like popsicle stain effect on the lip. Cute? I love this. I'm cold. Ooh, so chilly. Shall we go in for the full effect? Here we go. Ignore the bare arms. I've got I think it's adorable. I want to be cold in makeup aesthetic only forever. It's adorable. It's so easy. We don't need fancy makeup products for this. It's literally just everything you already have in your collection, guaranteed. It's just a little heavy on the blush. And if you've got some glitter, throw it on. Let us just recap on our little conversation here, which I actually think is relevant to the I'm cold and the holiday season. Because what ends up coming up, and we've had this conversation multiple times, what ends up coming up in the holidays are also quote unquote opportunities. There is opportunity for gathering. There's opportunity for seeing a family and friends. And there's opportunity for all of this socializing. But sometimes that opportunity is more stressful than it's worth. Sometimes that opportunity actually grates against our foundation and all of the work we've done in the year leading up to the holiday season. And it can really mess with us. And, you know, as we have discussed, and as I mentioned at the beginning, the holiday season is not happy for everyone. The holiday season can bring up a lot of pain, a lot of triggers for a lot of people. And when all of these things are positioned as opportunities for socializing and gathering and celebrating, it can actually make you feel guilty when it's positioned that way, when it's framed that way, to say no. And again, we just have to check in with ourselves, because at the end of the day, it's just you. It's you in your body, it's you in your mind, it's you in your heart. And at the end of the day, all of those three things realistically, hopefully, are in harmony. And we're not, you know, feeling burnt out. We're not feeling our batteries depleted. We are going to bed at the end of the night. The goal is to go to bed at the end of the night knowing that we have taken care of ourselves and that we are moving constantly towards a place of not even necessarily happiness, just a place where we have done our best that day to care for number one first. Sometimes socializing, sometimes family is truly not an opportunity. Sometimes socializing and family is a burden, is too much, is a push in the wrong direction at that moment. So if that's where you're at this holiday season, please know that it's absolutely okay for you to actually draw a boundary and say no. Celebrate or not, but do it on your own terms in your own way. And if you find yourself in a scenario where, you know, that opportunity is actually an obligation where you can't say no, I hope that there are ways for you to find little moments of peace and ways for you to honor yourself in that scenario. And constantly just remember to check in on your emotional ecosystem, and if that starts to feel unbalanced or the equilibrium has been disturbed, just try and find little ways to recenter. That might just be going outside for a breath of air. That might be saying, you know what, rather than a glass of wine, I'm gonna take a cup of tea because that's what's gonna bring me back to me. All this to be said, in the grand scheme of things, if you're trying to get rich and famous, you're not gonna wanna pass up on these quote unquote opportunities because they don't come around every day. But if you're just trying to be a human being on this planet who is moving through the world and the universe, trying to be a better version of yourself and just trying to find contentedness and success the way you define it, then passing up opportunities sometimes is exactly what you need to be doing. And that's just okay. And if you look cute while doing it, do it. All right, that's enough. Who even knows what I'm talking about? I am not a professional. I am just a Pisces. That is everything for me today, my wonderful, beloved friends. I really miss being here on camera with you. I am going to try very hard to at least get a couple more videos up in the next few weeks. Obviously, I'm not going to get another couple of videos up before the new year because the new year is like rapidly approaching. Time makes no sense. It is a construct I'm not following. But I really miss being consistent here, and life has just proven challenging of late, and it is pushing up against my own hopes and dreams and desires, but sometimes that is just the way. That is the way. With all of that being said, I wish you a peaceful holiday, a restful holiday, and I wish you moments for yourself, and hopefully I will see you again before the new year. And if that doesn't happen, well, here's to 2023. Stay cold, stay cute. Love you, and I'll see you in the next one, whenever that may be.